And welcome to Friday. I am Mary Walter with you right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. Coming up later in the show, we're going to speak with Scott McEwen. He has a new book out called Hell Week and Beyond, the Making of a Navy SEAL. It's going to be he's a Navy SEAL, so we're going to find out how you get there. What does that really entail? Because it looks like it entails a lot. I could never do it. And he's also the co-author of American Sniper. But joining us now, as I told you, it was coming up, Tom Homan, former acting ICE director, currently senior fellow at the Immigration Reform Law Institute. Tom, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so there's so much to talk to you about when it comes to immigration. And we had the Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas saying this week, telling Congress that there's no invasion along the southwest border. In fact, he told Congress that the border is closed. Why would he say that the border is closed?
Because he's lying to the American people.
But you said that the Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas was lying to Congress, basically, when he's saying that he's telling us that the southern border is closed. How do the American people not see that?
Don't call lie, because anybody can look at the video of what's going on the border. All you need is go down the border and ask one Border Patrol agent what they think. He hasn't done that. He hasn't asked one Border Patrol agent about what they think about the wall and why they thought the wall. These politicians, they get out there and say things that just aren't true. But if you listen to the men and women of the Border Patrol, the people are actually down there standing on that line working 24/7, they'll tell you the crisis. They'll tell you things are out of control. Texas Governor Abbott was just on the news today talking about how much fentanyl is coming across that border because the cartels are sending so many family groups that ties all the Border Patrol resources up so they can smuggle, gang members and drugs through various areas that are unguarded because the Border Patrol is tied up with this humanitarian crisis. The Secretary and the President are just lying to the American people. I've never seen anything like it in my 35-year career, where they just lie. Even during the Obama administration, when Jay Johnson was the Secretary, he said 1,000 a day was a bad day. It was a crisis. We got 6,000 or 7,000 a day now, 6 times more than during the Obama administration, and they're not calling it a crisis. It's just ridiculous.
Why are they doing this? Why? I don't think he can hear me now. I don't think Tom Homan can hear me, and if so, I can't hear him now. So, you know what? I'll tell you what.
I can hear you now.
Oh, now you can hear me. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. We're having some technical difficulties, and again, I apologize. Why is the administration doing this? Why are they allowing this to happen? Why are they allowing fentanyl to pour over our border? Why are we allowing murderers and rapists and gang members, all these people come across the border? What is the game plan?
Well, that's a result of open borders, right? President Biden, during the campaign, made promises to win the progressive left. He needed their votes, so he promised open borders. That's why he promised to put a moratorium on deportations. He promised to end detention operations. He promised to change ICE so ICE couldn't arrest people in the United States. He promised to give them free health care. He promised that he would give amnesty to people. So he made these promises. He knew it would cause a surge because he was vice president in FY14-15 when we had a surge. He knew what caused them. He knew how we stopped them. How did we stop them back then? We stopped them by building detention facilities, detaining people, making them see a judge. 90% lost the case. We sent them home. The numbers went down. This administration is doing the complete opposite. That's why I've been arguing for months. This isn't by accident. This isn't mismanagement. This is by design. This is what open borders is. This is what President Biden sold this country out to win the election, to give open borders. And on top of that, we got to say it's by design. What else did they do? They decapitated ICE, so even though these thousands of people who get released in the country every day are not going to get removed, even if they lose their case, because ICE is not allowed to arrest non-criminal aliens anymore. We also dropped the sanctuary city lawsuit that President Trump had, so sanctuary cities continue to hide and shield illegal aliens. What he also did is he ended ICE detention. ICE has less beds now than they've ever had. So this isn't by accident. This is by design. This is what open borders looks like.
Poll after poll after poll shows that the American people don't like this and that they do blame the Biden administration for this. Is this solely because they figure they're going to make all of these people legal? These people are all going to get citizenship in time to vote in 2022?
They don't need to be citizens, right? Because bottom line is, what did he also do? He also overturned the Trump census rule. It means all these illegal aliens will be counted at the next census. What does that mean? That means more seats in the House for the Democrats, which means more electoral votes, which means perpetual power. Sure, they'll give them amnesty, they'll eventually become citizens, they can vote. But before they even do that, they're going to be counted as census in the next census, and that's going to have a dramatic effect on who makes up our Congress. This is about the Democrats. They got a long-term plan. I met with a bunch of Republican congressmen the other day in Texas. I told them, you need to pull your head out of your butts, or if you don't, another 15 years, you're never going to win another election because you're stacking the deck against you.
Yeah.
There's an end game to this. This is about future Democratic voters. This is about them being counted as census. This is about more Democrats on the Hill for government power.
Is there a point at which the American people, especially those on the left, especially Democrats, say this is too much because it's starting to affect their kids, their crime is rising in their cities, they start to see it? Or do they just figure this is never going to come to a town near them?
Well, it's coming to a town near them. I don't care what they think. I was down on the southwest border. These people are being released all over the country. They're getting bus tickets and plane tickets. I was actually on a plane with 14 different family units. Some are going to New York, some to Chicago, some to Virginia, some to Montana, some to Los Angeles, some to Phoenix, some to Utah. They're going all over the country, Chicago. These people are going all over the country. And the fentanyl is coming across, record amounts of fentanyl. Remember, during the last pandemic crisis 7 years ago, over 60,000 Americans died from fentanyl overdoses. Fentanyl smuggling right now is at an all-time high because the criminal cartels are taking advantage of the Border Patrol being so tight with the family unit. So this is coming to a town and village near you. These people will overcrowd your schools. They'll overcrowd the trauma centers. They're going to starve the social system. And look, let's face it. As soon as they get here, one of the first things they do is have a U.S. citizen child because they're born here. Then automatically they qualify for welfare, food stamps, and other social services. Look, there's a madness going on with the Democratic Party to seize control of this government, open border assumption to get to that place. So it's a shame that I don't care if Republican or Democrat. There's no downside in securing the border. We have the right to be a sovereign nation. We have the right to have a secure border. There's not a country in the world that's doing what we're doing right now, just letting people in. And many with COVID, and we know it, and we're still releasing them.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just COVID. Those people who are on the plane with you could have TB. They could have measles. Measles is more contagious than COVID. Now, granted, we hope that we're all, vaccinated, that you wouldn't get the measles. But what about a little kid who's too young for a vaccine? What about that kid? And it's okay. That's all right because they're here illegally and they are future Democrat voters as far as they're concerned. You mentioned hospitals, and there's a story coming out of Texas that Midland Memorial Hospital has been providing health care for the migrants, and they are owed by the federal government over $200,000 in health care costs. Now, that's just for the nurses and the techs in the hospital itself. The doctors don't get paid. People don't realize that the doctors don't get paid because they have to do something called ward care, at least in most hospitals across the country. So they are forced to do so much charitable care every so many months. You get on ward care. So if you're taking care of an illegal, you get nothing. You don't get paid at all. So this is just the money that is used, that is owed for everybody else. Who pays for that? Taxpayers eventually.
Well, there's more to that story because they say they absorb the cost. Let me be very clear. They don't absorb the cost. They pass it on to those of us who have insurance.
Yes.
That's why the insurance rates keep going higher. That's why hospital care keeps going higher, because they're not going to take a financial loss. They're going to pass it on to those who have insurance, and those that can pay are just going to pay higher rates to cover the losses that they had.
Yeah, it comes back on to, of course, the taxpayers, and I just have to think that somewhere along the line they've got to break. One last question before I let you go: how do you put this genie back in the bottle? What do we do with all these people who are here if we get a Republican president, if we get someone in the vein of a Donald Trump, and we get people like you back into the government? How do you reverse this?
Well, there's two things. We're not waiting for 2022. Now, 2022, we need to take back the House and Senate. People need to get out there and vote. Let's at least take back Congress and take back White House in 2024. But I'm not waiting for that. I'm involved with lawsuits in Texas, Arizona, and Florida. I filed affidavits with several state attorney generals. We're suing the Biden administration. We won the first one. They can't do the moratorium on deportation, so we won that one. We got several more important ones entering the court system now, so I'm suing. But look, when we get back in power, the American people need to stand by their guns and need to have backbone, because here's what's going to happen. All these family units coming across here now, first thing they're going to do is have U.S. citizen child. Then in 6 years, when we find that person, we want to remove them, then all of a sudden the bleeding heart say, why are you removing that mother with 2 USC children? Because she entered the country illegally. She was ordered removed by a judge. She didn't leave. She decided to have kids because she thinks U.S. citizen children would give her automatic amnesty. People need to be strong on this. Because I was ICE director, even some Republicans say, well, you shouldn't be moving that person. They have 2 USC kids. Well, they chose to have those kids knowing they're in the country illegally, knowing they would get a pass. We got to stop this stuff. We got to stop the madness. We got to stop rewarding illegal behavior and stand by what this nation is about, a system of laws. We're a nation of laws. We can follow those laws.
Absolutely. And they can take those children with them back to wherever their home country is. And they say, oh, the kids don't know anybody. Well, they can meet the family. They can meet their grandparents. They can meet, other people, the rest of the family that they still have in this country, and they can take them home with them. And then if those kids want to petition for citizenship when they hit 18, they are more than welcome to do that. Tom Homan, I apologize for the technical issues in the beginning, but I really appreciate you joining us because this is out of control and we need to shine a light on this. And good for you. Suing in order to stop the administration, although I fear they're going to do what the Obama administration did, which is just ignore judges' orders and do whatever they want and get away with it. I really, really fear that happening. But thank you so much for fighting the good fight, sir. Have a fantastic weekend.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.